Every time you self-sabotage your weight loss, you are tripping on your weakest link in the chain of systems that produce successful behavior change. This chain is composed of 5 links. Action. This is the nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle changes you're making. Physiological. This is how your body reacts to the action. Mental. This is how your mind processes data into information. Emotional. This is how you express your emotions about that information. And beliefs. The truth you believe about yourself and the world. Self-sabotage happens when all 5 of these are not aligned. By the end of this video, you'll understand how self-sabotage happens at each of these links, how to identify your weakness link, and how to work on strengthening that link. Hi, Rich and Lucy here, nutritionists at CoachViva.com, the place for analytical thinkers who refuse to hide from the facts or cave to excuses. If that's you, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to be notified every week of new science-backed and practical videos to help you lose weight on your terms. Also, heads up, a few spots have opened up for the one-on-one free consult for our Badass Body Boss program, so stick around until the end of the video for the announcement on that. Now let's get started.
First is your physiological system. When you decide to take action like change your eating habits or exercise more, your body isn't just sitting there, taking it all passively. It is actively reacting, and these reactions are what comprise of your physiological system. For example, let's say you decide to start with something many people start with, eat at 1200 calories and do HIIT 5 times a week. Now, if your maintenance calories are 1800 calories per day and you cut it drastically like that, your body is going to react after a while. It does this through 6 mechanisms. 1. Up to 15% of your calorie burn comes from your daily movements. Since you're not eating enough calories for your current size, your body makes you lethargic, so you don't move as much, thus burning far less than the 15% of calories through movements. Second, the lethargy also makes you not want to do formal exercise, which drops the last 5% of calorie burn. Third, up to 10% of your calorie burn comes from digesting food. Now that it spots there isn't enough calories being consumed for your size, it stops digesting foods as completely, and so your calorie burn from digestion drops. Fourth, your body pumps up your hunger hormones so your cravings and hunger are at their peak. Fifth, if you keep persisting on a drastic calorie deficit through both food intake and exercise, it'll start getting rid of your muscle, which is more expensive for your body to maintain than fat. This is why if you're not careful, that weight you see dropping may be mostly lean mass. If you've ever dropped a bunch of weight and gained more than you lost, having lost a bunch of muscle may be a reason. And finally, if you keep persisting, your body slows down your metabolism through a process called adaptive thermogenesis, where even though you're eating below your theoretical maintenance, your actual maintenance has dropped to match your calorie intake. Altogether, this is what's called your physiological system. If you don't know how to coax your physiology into reacting the way you want it to react, that is working in collaboration with you instead of freaking it out into fighting your efforts, you're bound to self-sabotage because your physiology always wins in the long term. The most common way I see people self-sabotage at this link in the chain is by doing extreme things, like the example I just walked through. Your goal here is to understand your physiological system and learn how to work with it.
The next link in the chain is your mental process. This is how your mind processes data from the world into an experience. Every second, your mind is bombarded with a crazy amount of data, much of which it ignores. I mean, just think back to a time when you were asked about an event that happened to you and you have no recollection about it. That's the case. Your mind decided to simply discard the data. It didn't become an experience. But when we attach any kind of emotion to data, it becomes an experience and gets stored in our mind. And our mental processing of that experience has a big effect on how we act. Going back to our original example, let's tweak it. Let's say you decided to target 1600 calories a day and you lost 1 pound after a week. And your reaction to seeing the scale drop by 1 pound is to think that's really slow. You'll behave very differently than if you thought, hey, some progress. So this is one of 4 mental self-sabotage buckets I see frequently, and I call it the wrong expectations and mental models. Think of this bucket as full of cases of not understanding how long things take and what a real weight loss journey actually looks like. It is so easy to fall into the self-sabotage bucket because every ad and Instagram post we look at tells us about rapid success. The second mental self-sabotage bucket I have seen is having a know-it-all mindset. This is an easy one to fall into when you've been trying to lose weight for a long time. You've probably consumed so much information on nutrition and exercise that you feel like you could write a book yourself. While this may be true, this mindset kills your active listening skills, which makes you miss big opportunities. For example, you listen to an advice like drink water and wait for 5 minutes before giving into your cravings. And you think, I know that, and move on. But are you actually doing it? How many times have you made this error? I know I have. Now, once you start digging into your physiological processes or look at how long it'll take for you to lose weight, you may fall into the third mental self-sabotage bucket, overthinking and allowing yourself to be overwhelmed. You may think, oh my God, I have to watch what I eat forever, or this is so much information, I'm never going to figure this out. When you start catastrophizing and getting overwhelmed is when you self-sabotage, because it freezes you. You can't move forward. And the last mental self-sabotage bucket is when you keep mentally comparing yourself to others. For example, if you watch a friend eat whatever and think she can eat whatever she wants and it's not fair. Or if you must make sure that you aren't the most unfit person in a fitness group class, these thoughts are limiting what you will do, which in turn shuts off an entire avenue of progress. Like if you think some people can eat whatever they like and it's unfair, you will rebel because unfairness raises stubbornness, anger, and resistance in all of us. Or you'll roll out leveling up or skipping group classes that you normally love and be consistent at.
The next link in the chain is your emotional expression to the experiences. Now, all of the mental self-sabotage buckets Lucy talked about could stop you from taking the right actions and their impact could end there. But for some of us, our reaction extends into the emotional realm, which often manifests as using food to express our emotions. There are 4 main emotional self-sabotage buckets I have seen. The first is using food as a self-soothing mechanism. For example, when you come across a situation that upsets you, you want to go feel good again. Like when your boss hands you work at the last minute or your kid is acting out. You may be feeling overwhelmed or feeling imposter syndrome. And of course, you want to feel better. So you turn to the thing that you know makes you feel good. Food. The second emotional self-sabotage bucket is moral licensing. This is when you use food as a reward. You think, hey, I exercised, I ate, my work was a pain, so I deserve the couple of glasses of wine and ice cream. This is moral licensing. You're using past behavior to justify why to act in undesirable ways right now. The third self-sabotage bucket is avoiding discomfort by focusing on things you're already good at. For example, we had a client who loved social drinking so much that nearly 40% of his calories would come from alcohol. Whenever we'd bring it up, he'd feel uncomfortable because he felt stuck. Drinking alcohol is how he felt he could connect with his coworkers. He enjoyed it. He also saw that it was holding his progress back and felt bad that he couldn't figure this out. So he avoided the entire situation by redirecting it with, I'll just exercise more, or I won't eat as much earlier in the day. Stuff that was easier for him, instead of directly addressing the root issue. And the last emotional self-sabotage bucket is when we are bored or procrastinating. We think, hey, I need food to survive, so I'm doing something important, and that's why I haven't started on my project yet. And so we keep eating, aka doing the important life things as a way to not do the project or thing we actually need to be doing.
The last link in the chain is your beliefs. There are 2 kinds of beliefs that cause self-sabotage. One are a set of beliefs that is due to feeling lacking. There are 4 self-sabotage buckets I've seen here. The first is feeling like you don't deserve to lose weight. This usually stems from having low self-esteem. If you've said to yourself, I am getting what I deserve, I can't do this, I'm going to fail anyway, I've never been able to do this, it's too hard, I'm hopeless, what's the point, I have been told I cannot, and they are right, then you likely have a deep-seated self-esteem issues that you need to address first. If you don't feel you deserve something or you're not capable, you'll be proven right. The second has to do with a fear of failure. And you've thought to yourself, what if I don't make it? Or what if I put in all that hard work and still don't succeed? Or how will I cope if I fail? Then you're unlikely to really commit and give it your best. You'll procrastinate on committing to the actions you know deep down will cause success if you give it your all. But because you fear failure, you'll overthink and avoid taking action. All of this keeps you exactly where you are, in the safe, familiar place you're at but unhappy with because you want to move forward but won't allow yourself to. The third bucket is the fear of judgment. This sometimes goes hand in hand with the fear of failure. You may think, Will my friends think I'm not fun anymore? What will my family and friends think if I again fail at this? Will people laugh at me because I'm so unfit? Will my family be upset that I won't be eating dessert with them every night? Or will everyone judge me if I fail? If these thoughts cause you to cut out entire avenues of progress, you will continue doing things that appear safe. Safe from failure, safe from judgment, but don't cause long-term progress. And the last self-sabotage bucket for lacking belief is you're lacking clarity on why you're doing this. You may think life is rainbows and stickers once I get to my goal, and then what? The prospect of getting to that perfection may scare you because it's so unfamiliar and not having something to work toward feels empty. This is why you must have a deeply compelling future you're working toward. Ask yourself, how will my life change once I get my goal? What will I be doing differently? How will I be feeling differently? Write them down. If thinking about it doesn't cause you to change your in-moment behavior, that is, you give into food FOMO all the time, for example, then what you've described as your future life is not compelling enough to you. Keep iterating on it. So that was the first kind of belief based on feeling lacking. The other kind of belief of staying overweight is a positive thing. There are 4 self-sabotage buckets that I have seen here. First is safety. I have heard from clients that they feel physically safer because their size allows them to better defend themselves against physical attacks. Another one is not getting unwanted attention from others. Yet another could be that they got to a much smaller size due to sickness and losing weight. That size again scares them because of the prior experience. So of course, when they start losing weight, they start feeling unsafe and self-sabotage their weight loss. The second bucket is pleasing others. We have had clients say that they associate eating with a lot of keeping their family happy, or if they come from a family of people who tend to be overweight, staying overweight keeps everyone in the same group and doesn't evoke jealousy. If you've been thin before, you may have gotten passive-aggressive comments from people around you, and to fit in, you may have felt it was better to be overweight. As humans, we all have a deep need to fit in. It's natural. But when our need to fit in maps to beliefs that make staying overweight beneficial, we, of course, will self-sabotage. The third bucket is seeing food as a necessity for connecting with others. This especially happens when people come from families where food was the main way family members connected with each other, in absence of other ways to promote connection. For example, some families take trips or hike as a primary way to connect as much as eating together over dinner. Then it forms a belief that connection without food is impossible. And the last bucket is avoiding rejection. This could be both in terms of facing rejection, like blaming being overweight for missing that promotion or date. But it could also be in terms of giving rejection. For example, having to tell others no for a date or other opportunity. Being overweight can feel like it's keeping you out of the spotlight, and thus you don't have to face social conflicts or situations you feel uncomfortable with. And if you lost weight, you'd have no reason not to focus on those situations.
And that forms the full 5-chain link of self-sabotage. If any of these 5 things are not aligned, you're bound to self-sabotage. One thing to note is that the chain reaction happens in both directions. It could start with your actions, like doing a big lifestyle change, which causes your physiological system to freak out and fight your efforts, thus slowing down your weight loss, which causes your mental processing of this to feel like you're working so hard and not seeing enough results, which causes your emotional expression to be to eat to self-soothe, which then confirms your belief that you're broken and can't lose weight. But the chain reaction can also work in the opposite direction. Like your belief is that you're broken and you can't lose weight. So your emotional expression is to eat to self-soothe whenever you feel this way, which causes you to gain weight. But your mental processes tell you gaining weight isn't what you want, so you think about how you can control your physiological process and come up with pure weight control. And so your actions are wholly focused on weight to the exclusion of all other factors that affect fat loss. Notice how the chain reaction from belief to action is disjointed and hodgepodge in practice, while the chain reaction from action to beliefs is like rapid knocking down of dominoes. No wonder it feels like you're mustering so much much effort to start losing weight and then getting quickly knocked down. This is why you must work on both ends of the chain simultaneously until you have a smooth chain reaction happening up and down. And if you want my help working through this, check out our Badass Body Boss program. The program is built for you if you, 1, value learning in depth the science and psychology behind the entire process, 2, believe that weight loss need not be so complicated, that each method out there works for someone at some stage, and that you just need a clear plan to finding your methods for your stage, and 3, are excited by the idea of working in a collaborative fashion with us to build your customized, sustainable roadmap to lifelong success. If that's you, good news. A few spots have opened up for a free one-to-one consultation call with us. Note, this is not a coaching call, and that booking a call does not guarantee you'll be admitted into our program. So if you're serious, click on the link in the description below to book a one-to-one consultation call for our Badass Body Boss program. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, be sure to subscribe or follow us on Instagram, and share this video with whoever else you feel could use this information. And be sure to check out these 2 videos to learn more about how to lose fat and gain muscle like a body boss. You can do it.